Hello everyone, Asher here. As promised, in the next few minutes you'll have a nice segment on life safety in the village. Really what we're going to focus on is sort of the equipment that we have in place that some of the residents might not know about that really protect us. So for example, we're going to speak about our generators, our nurse call system a little bit, and really focus on our fire alarm system and fire safety. Stay tuned, and as I mentioned, it's going to be very informative. Thank you.
Hey.
All right, so now we're in the typical suite here at the Village of Tansley Woods. Obviously, suites differ on the layout, on the amount of rooms. However, one thing is for sure, every suite has a sprinkler system, every suite has smoke detectors, and every suite has nurse call. So I'll kind of go over some of the items with you, and we can sort of touch upon how important they are for life safety. Nurse call system, obviously very important for all of our residents here. So a lot of our residents have attendants, some don't. However, every room does have a nurse call system. So the nurse call system work is if you need assistance, we hit the button, and then we have a team member downstairs or the lead nurse, and it rings at their phone, and they'll actually call you back and have a two-way conversation with you, so you can explain, oh, it was an accident, or I need help, please come up. You can also cancel it, so in case you accidentally press it, you can cancel it with the green button there. Okay. Next up, we have two different types of smoke detectors. One of them is a local alarm to alert you, which is this one here, which is kind of what you'll find in the average house or apartment. That only sounds locally, so if that fire alarm goes off, it's just a beeping just like you would have in your house. Next to it here, this cone-shaped smoke detector, it's a smoke and heat sensor, and this is actually tied into our fire alarm system. Now, when this one sounds, it only sends a trouble to the panel, or it might alert the whole building. It depends on which room it's in. If it's on the first or second floor, the parameters are different than the third floor up. However, this will always alert a team member in one way or shape or form. Next over, we have sprinkler heads. So these are dispersed throughout your apartment, and they're installed based on code, the building code at the time. And really, we want to make sure that there's at least 18 inches of clearance around sprinkler heads at all times, because you want the umbrella of the water to really reach its peak form and its maximum surface area to really make sure that we're putting out the fire. So in some areas like your closets or your laundry room, if there is a sprinkler head, we do want to make sure that we have enough of a distance, 18 inches at least, on all areas around it, so that we're not blocking the path of the water. At each landing by the elevator, you'll see a diagram, which is a fire escape plan. It lists what to do when you discover a fire, what to do upon hearing the fire alarm, and upon hearing an evacuation announcement. We'll go into further detail on our next segment on what to do when you hear the alarm. But just for reference, if ever you want to take a closer look, it's by every elevator landing. So now I'm going to give you a quick tour of a typical floor layout. These are some of the safety features we have on each floor. Between building 1 and building 2, some of these things might, building 2 and building 3, I should say. Some of these things might differ. However, for the most part, it's the same across the retirement building. First up here, we have our nice lit up green sign. So this is just showing you where the means of egress are. There's a stairwell located at each end of the hallway, and that can take you right down to the first floor here. We also have a pull station. So a pull station is used by the team or anyone really in the village. The reason why it's there is if ever you spot a fire, however the fire alarm isn't sounding yet, this automatically activates the fire alarm, and it also sends a location to our fire panel telling our team where the fire is or where the incident is, and for us to know where to respond. So if you pull this, the alarm would sound right away. Only pull it in case of fire. It also gives off a location, so it would say 10th floor, stair M, pull station. So then our team knows 10th floor, they would find stairwell M, and they would make sure that they go to that location. In case of fire, there's directions on how to use it, but the main thing is just pulling down on this lever right here. Next up, on each end of the corridor on phase 3, we have a fire phone system. Phase 2 doesn't have a fire phone system, phase 3 does. Really, this is for use by the fire department or the first responders. And what it is a way of communicating from here to the fire panel so that they can tell them what the situation is, give them a status update, that kind of thing as well. This gets tested monthly by our team. In each hallway as well, each end, you'll find a cabinet. This is for both phase 2 and phase 3. Fire hose cabinet. Fire hoses are only supposed to be used by fire department. Needs to be done by trained personnel. So our team actually does not use the fire hoses. However, in each cabinet there are fire extinguishers. And so these fire extinguishers are used by our team members in case they spot a fire, to put out a fire. And if residents know and are capable of using them and know how to use them, it's for anyone who can use it right away to put out a fire. So they're all located in the cabinets. Going forward, we have what's called a fire door. So now we have these fire separations. Some hallways have them based on the layout, based on the depth from one end to the other. Really what it is just another separation. So we have one area of containment here, and then the next in between the next set of fire doors, and so on and so forth. What this does is these doors are held by magnets. As the fire alarm sounds, the magnets release and the door closes. This fire separation offers an element of safety. These doors are fire rated for a certain amount of time of direct flame contact. What that means is they're rated so that in order for a fire to traverse these doors, there would have to be direct flame contact for a certain amount of time before it actually makes its way to the next part of the compartment. What that does for our team is it allows us to do what's called a horizontal evacuation, bring residents from one end to the next, and then that way it buys us some time as well as an added way of protection. Every year we do an annual drill with the fire department where we evacuate one of our care neighborhoods, so either the first or second floor. Typically it's our Egerton neighborhood on the second floor of the East Tower. And really the exercise is bringing residents from one side of the fire doors to the other side of the fire doors. There's an algorithm, and it basically, with the sprinkler system in our building and the fire separations, we have a certain amount of time that we need to bring our residents from one end to the other. So here we have the sprinkler room. This is under the phase 3 footprint. However, this is the main for both our domestic water as well as our sprinkler main for the entire village. So what that means is the water comes from the city, and then it goes to a pump where it gets distributed all through the towers to your rooms and whatnot. I'll show you where it comes in from here. So here's our sprinkler main. As I mentioned previously, the water comes from the city, and then it goes to a secondary pump where it gets pushed throughout the system. So your system's charged in each suite with a sprinkler head like that right there, where there is water in the system. So it's always kept at a certain pressure. Once the head bursts and then it realizes there's a drop in pressure, another pump kicks in, sending the water up to your suite to put out the fire. As mentioned previously, in the other room on phase 3 where the water main comes in for the sprinkler system, the water comes in to this room here, where this is our fire pump. So right now the system's charged. We have a sprinkler head that bursts, we lose pressure, the pump comes on, sending water to that location. Now we test this every month to make sure it's up and running, and we take the readings to make sure that it's reaching the right PSI as per the standard. Another part of our safety system here is carbon monoxide detection. This being an underground and having cars, there is obviously carbon monoxide generated. So what these sensors do is they measure the parts per million in the air, and if there is a significant amount of carbon monoxide detected, it opens up the louvers and the dampers at the ends of each hall, bringing in fresh air and circulating that fresh air. These also send a signal to the fire panel, so then it alerts our team if there is an issue in the underground as well. These get tested annually just to make sure that they are running. Next to me, we just have our nurse call system. So nurse call is the pendants in your suite, as well as the pull cords or the push buttons. It's all wired in through the building, ends up here. These are the power supplies for it. So this is actually what feeds power to your suites and those individual modules. And the way it works is you pull a call bell, it gets sent here, and it's also tied into our phone system. So then our nurses get alerted if there is a call bell pulled. So a nurse can be on the 4th floor, and if you're on the 10th floor pulling a call bell, it'll actually ring on their portable phone, so they know they can answer it, speak to you, or they know where to go directly when they get the message. So now we're here, located in front of the generator room. Both of our generators, so we have 2 generators that serve our retirement building, and we also have 1 for long-term care. So if you think of the whole village as 3 different buildings, we have 3 different generators and 1 serves each building. Here we're in front of the phase 3 generator, located in our underground. This is tested every month by our maintenance team to make sure everything's running properly. We do what's called a load test, so we make sure the generator can run while it is under some sort of stress. We also have it tested annually by a third party who come and make sure all the components are working properly. The generator itself kicks in when the power goes out, obviously, and it only gives power to all of our life safety equipment. So for example, elevators, the nurse call system, our fire alarm system, our fire pump, to name a few, are all running on the generator. So if the power does go out, don't expect every light in the building to be on. There's only certain lights that will be powered by the generator. However, you can rest assured that your nurse call and your fire alarm system are all working while running on backup power. So let's go have a look in the room. So here we have it. Here's our generator. This is our phase 3 generator. Added as of last year, really. You'll notice it's nice and big. And then we also have a couple fuel tanks here. So it's part of my role to ensure that we have enough fuel to last us a good amount of time. Our policy says once we get to a quarter tank, we fill them. So that's part of the monthly maintenance routine, is to check this room, run the generator, and make sure everything's good.